Zakat, Chicago.
Zakat, its benefits. Ustadh Ubaydullah Evans, Scholar in Residence at ALIM, American Learning Institute for Muslims, in cooperation with the Downtown Islamic Center, DIC.
The benefits of paying zakat. The word zakat comes from the Arabic word zakawa, which means pure, clean. Zakat yazki, to purify something. So in a sense, the term, in terms of its etymology, it's about purifying what you have so that the rest of what you own is now clean for you to make use of it in whatever way you want to. So think about your zakat as a means of purifying your wealth. And I think that it is something deeply humane. These are the life-giving teachings of Islam that I absolutely love. It's something deeply humane that you would feel the need to purify your wealth. You should feel that. There should be a tension there that you should be thinking to yourself, why me? I live in security. I live in comfort. Well, at least before coronavirus, now we're all feeling, right? But why me? I am no better than anyone else. I am no more deserving than anyone else. Why me? Why am I financially secure? Why don't I deal with food insecurity? Why don't I live in a war-torn country? Why am I not a refugee? I'm no more deserving than anybody else. And you should feel that this money I have, until I've done something to serve other people, it's dirty. Even if you earned it in a clean way. Even if you earned it without hurting anybody, you earned it without doing anything haram, until I give something of it to serve somebody else, it's kind of dirty, man. This money is no good until I've given some of it. Now, it's beautiful that what God asks us to give is actually just a nominal amount, because God is merciful. God could tell you, give it all, and we would have to do that. Or give half, and we would have to do that. Or even in the church, they tithe their wealth at 10%. And by the way, tithes, 10% of their income. 10% of what you make, they give to the church. God is telling us, give 2.5% of your savings. This is just like a nominal tribute. Oh, just a little something. But if you do that, you have purified the rest of your money so that you can spend it the way that you want to. You have a question? Oh, so that you can spend it the way that you want to, and your conscience is at least free. And one of the benefits is being able to live without a guilty conscience, right? Now, the zakat is just the minimum. There's always more that can be given. But if you pay your zakat, you can feel like, hey, look, I'm not the best of the community, but I've done at least the mandatory amount to be able to enjoy my home, enjoy my car, enjoy my vacations, enjoy my food, put my children in private school, whatever. I've done the minimum amount that makes that okay. If you don't do that minimum amount, all of that is compromised. I'm not saying all of it is haram, but all of that is ethically compromised. All of that might be seen as being immoral if you don't pay that amount, right? And we also know that God gives benefit. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Al-mal la yanqus min al-sadaqa." Wealth does not decrease from giving. So one of the things that the giver benefits from is that he or she gets to express their reliance upon God. Like, you read this, and this is why, I'll give you something that, one of my teachers told me, and it just resonated. It just made a lot of sense. It just resonated. It made a lot of sense that you often have, especially young men dream about martyrdom. Many young men, they dream about martyrdom. Young men especially, They want to be warriors. They dream about martyrdom. And it's not born of anything but this idea that were I called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice for something righteous, I would be brave enough, I would be reliant enough upon God that I would be willing to make that sacrifice. But one of my teachers would tell me, if you don't give zakat and you don't give sadaqah, you think you think you can make the ultimate if you can't give away the dunya $50 at a time, $100 at a time, $1,000 at a time, you think you're going to want to give away the whole dunya at one time? It's actually not going to happen. And this is why a person's relationship to tawakkul, reliance upon God, and the relationship to hibbut dunya, love, inordinate, inappropriate love of the transient world, you can see it in direct correlation to how they give their charity. And when you give zakat, you get an opportunity to see that I rely upon God. God gave me what I have. I can give it for the sake of God. And I believe that God will give me more. God will give me more. Now, if you believe that you are ultimately responsible for what you have, and you believe that your shrewdness, your cunning, your cleverness is ultimately what's going to keep what you have, it will be very difficult for you to give. You see? You see? Allah mentions, and I want to stay as jargon-free as possible, but when you have relevant verses of the Quran, you have to cite them. In Surah Al-Layl, right? Bakhila wastaghna. They go hand in hand. Bakhila, to be stingy. Wastaghna, to deem yourself self-sufficient. Oh, that's Quranic. See, this is when you see the wisdom of the Quran. The person that bakhila wastaghna. When you're stingy, it's only because you deem yourself what? I'm self-sufficient. I take care of myself. So I can't give what I have away. If you believe, ana mutawakkil ala Allah, I depend on God for what I have, it's easy to give what I have. God gave it to me, God will give it back to me. In giving zakat, you get to experience that. Give it away. Honestly, for those of us who are newly minted middle class people whose families were not middle class, but we have attained a little middle class status, you find that charity is much more difficult for us because we grew up in the specter of poverty. Poverty is always right there. It's over my shoulder all the time. Even if I have a little money, I have those memories of being poor. I have those memories of those brown dollars, going to the store with them, food stamps. I have memories of going to Cook County Hospital. These are memories that I have. So when someone tells me, give away what you have, it's like, give away what I have? Man, hell no. I need to keep everything I have. You get to break that. Allah is forced, give. Allah was taking care of you then, Allah will take care of you now. Give. With the zakat, you get to experience that. And it's special. And then, in terms of the benefit, the last benefit that we'll mention, God mentions that the مثل الذين ينفقون في سبيل الله, the example of those who give for the sake of Allah, كمثل مئة حبة, it's like كمثل سنبلة, it's like a stalk of grain. And in every stalk, في كل سنبلة مئة حبة, in every stalk there's 100 seeds. So it's like you give one, and for that, you get 100. God will give you increase in this life and in the next life. So there's massive benefit to giving. The consequence for not paying zakat. As we mentioned, this is a pillar of Islam. So this is a part of that mandatory minimum. And if one voluntarily refuses to pay zakat, And by voluntarily, I mean that's a kind of strange turn of phrase. You can't volunteer to not give something. But if one intentionally is the word that I'm using, refuses to give zakat, your Islam has been compromised. Now, I'm not going to say that the person is a non-Muslim. If they're doing it muta'awwilan, they have some misunderstanding about why they should not give zakat. But if they have the obligation explained to them clearly, and they still refuse to give, they have left the fold of Islam. And I think, in our history, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, he fought against those people who refused to pay the zakat. He marshaled the Muslim armies against those people who refused to pay the zakat. And these were people that fasted, they prayed, they made pilgrimage, they had shahada, but just their refusal to give the zakat, he marshaled armies against them. So this is a very serious, refusal to pay zakat is very, very serious. And Allah mentions in the Quran those who hoard wealth. So yutawwaquna, that wealth will become like a twisted collar on their neck. I intentionally wore a shirt and tie today to demonstrate enough. That wealth will become like a twisted collar. And for anyone that has worn a shirt collar that is too tight, maybe you took it to a bad dry cleaners and they applied too much heat in drying the shirt, and the shirt like drew up, and you still wore the shirt not recognizing. You went out, you ate something that was salty, the neck gets a little swollen because the glands are a little swollen. Man, that shirt collar begins to feel like a vice. Allah says that all of those who hoard wealth, and I'm only telling you because I know, that shirt collar begins to feel like a vice, man. All of those who hoard wealth, that wealth they will be forced to wear. So yutawwaquna, they will be forced to wear it like a twisted collar on the day of judgment. May Allah save us from that. Ameen.